Date.
Aunt Maria needs help, she announced loudly to anyone who would listen. She's been struggling with jealousy issues for years. Hospital security arrived, trying to maintain order as the children started crying. Daniela bounced the youngest on her hip while rubbing her pregnant belly with her free hand. I grabbed my phone to call my law firm, needing backup. The receptionist answered on the second ring. Oh, Maria, your mother called earlier. She explained about your situation. Don't worry. We're handling your caseload while you recover. What? No, I'm fine. I need to speak to... The partners think it's best if you focus on getting better. Your mother said the breakdown was quite severe. I hung up, my hands trembling. Through the window, I watched my mother pull something from her purse, showing it to her lawyer. Keys, my apartment keys, my car keys. She started reciting something, and though I couldn't hear her, I recognized the pattern. She was listing my work schedule. Monday, she has court at 9. Tuesday is client meetings until 6. Wednesday, she volunteers at the women's shelter. The lawyer nodded along, taking notes. James burst through the door, still in his work clothes. Maria, I got your text. What's... But Daniela intercepted him in the hallway, placing a manicured hand on his arm. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but I saw her gesture toward me, then touch her temple in the universal sign for crazy. She pulled out her phone, showing him something on the screen. The nurse who'd been helping me earlier returned with a plastic bag. These are the belongings you came in with, she said, but her expression was troubled. She pulled out several glossy brochures from Blessed Beginnings Fertility Clinic. Those aren't mine, I said immediately. She unfolded one of the brochures. Inside was a consent form for egg retrieval, dated last week. The signature matched the one on my power of attorney document. The hospital administrator appeared in the doorway, a thin woman with a practiced smile. Given the circumstances and the family's concerns, we think it might be best to transfer Maria to our psychiatric ward for a full evaluation, just as a precaution. Through the glass, my mother smiled. Detective Rodriguez stood up. She's not going anywhere without a court order. Of course, the administrator said smoothly. We're simply considering all options for Maria's well-being. My phone buzzed again. This time it was my law school mentor, Professor Chen. Just got off the phone with your mother. She's very concerned about your pregnancy delusions. Said you've been fixating on having a baby, but your body won't cooperate. Is everything okay? I wanted to scream. Every avenue of my life was being systematically poisoned. I looked at Detective Rodriguez, then at the social worker who still wouldn't meet my eyes, then at James in the hallway with Daniela still whispering in his ear. The evaluation, I said suddenly. I'll do it. I'll prove I'm competent. The lawyer smiled. Excellent. Dr. Margaret Whitfield will perform the evaluation. She's the best in the state. The name sounded familiar. Then it hit me. Mom's Book Club. Dr. Whitfield had been coming to our house for monthly meetings for over a decade, but it was too late to take it back. The administrator was already making arrangements, and my mother's smile through the glass had turned triumphant. The nurse squeezed my hand as she checked my IV one more time. She leaned close, pretending to adjust my pillow. Whatever happens, don't sign anything else, she whispered. And check your phone's location settings. Someone's been tracking you. As everyone filed out to make arrangements for my evaluation, I noticed something else. Daniela was showing James her phone again, and this time I caught a glimpse of the screen. It was a text conversation, but not recent ones. These were from 2 years ago, when James and I had first started dating, and I'd mentioned that maybe someday, far in the future, we might want kids. She was building a case that I'd always wanted children, that this was all my own frustrated desire manifesting as paranoia. And from the look on James's face, it was working. The psychiatric evaluation was scheduled for tomorrow morning. As I lay in that hospital bed, watching my mother orchestrate my destruction through a pane of glass, I realized the true horror of my situation. She'd been planning this for years, waiting for the perfect moment to spring her trap, and I'd walked right into it. The psychiatric evaluation was set for 8 a.m. I spent the night rehearsing answers in my head, trying to anticipate Dr. Whitfield's questions. The nurse from earlier shift had slipped me a sedative, whispering that I'd need rest to appear stable, but sleep wouldn't come. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my mother's triumphant smile through that glass. Around 3 a.m., my phone lit up with an Instagram notification. Daniela had posted a photo from last month's family dinner. There I was, slumped in my chair, eyes glazed. The caption read, praying for my sister's fertility journey. Some women struggle more than others to accept their maternal calling. Posted 3 weeks ago, but I was just seeing it now. The comments were full of sympathy for her and concern for me. I scrolled through her feed with growing horror. She'd been documenting my journey for months. Photos of me at family gatherings, always looking tired or distracted, captions about my baby fever and fertility struggles. In one video, I was playing with her youngest daughter, and Daniela had added text overlay. She'll be such a good mom when she stops fighting nature. My work email pinged, then pinged again and again. I opened it to find my inbox flooded with messages. The subject lines made my blood run cold. Thinking of you during this difficult time. Take all the time you need. Your health comes first. My mother had sent an email to my entire firm from my account. I read it with shaking hands. Dear colleagues, I'm writing to inform you that I'll be taking an indefinite leave of absence to address some personal health matters. As many of you know, I've been struggling with fertility issues and the emotional toll has become overwhelming. My family is helping me get the treatment I need. Please redirect all urgent matters to the managing partners. Thank you for your understanding during this difficult time. Maria. The timestamp showed it was sent at 2:47 a.m. While I was lying here wide awake. I tried to log into my work account to send a retraction, but my password had been changed. My hands fumbled with the password reset, but the recovery email had been switched to one I didn't recognize. My mother had locked me out of my own professional life. 3 of my clients had already responded with supportive messages. Women I'd helped escape abusive situations, now believing I was having a mental health crisis. One wrote, I always sensed you carried deep pain about motherhood. Please don't let it consume you like it almost consumed me. The irony made me want to vomit. By 6 a.m., the psychiatric ward's morning shift was arriving. I watched through my door's window as staff members whispered to each other, glancing in my direction. News traveled fast in hospitals. They all knew I was the woman who'd attacked her mother for trying to help with fertility treatments. A breakfast tray arrived, but I couldn't eat. My hands shook too badly to hold the plastic spoon steady. When I tried to drink the juice, I noticed a bitter aftertaste and set it down immediately. After what I'd learned about the drugging at family dinners, I couldn't trust anything. Detective Rodriguez arrived at 7:30, looking exhausted. I've been investigating all night, he said quietly, pulling his chair close. Your mother's name appears in several concerning patterns at that fertility clinic. But Maria, he hesitated. The evidence is complicated. She's been very careful to make everything look like loving family support. What kind of patterns? I asked. Young women, mostly from troubled backgrounds, who suddenly decide to become egg donors or surrogates after meeting with clinic staff. Your mother often handles their intake paperwork. He showed me a folder. But here's the problem. They all sign consent forms. They all pass psychological evaluations. On paper, everything looks legitimate, because the system is designed to protect the clinic, not the women, I said. He nodded grimly. I need more evidence to build a case. But right now, I'm more concerned about getting you through this evaluation safely. Dr. Whitfield arrived precisely at 8 a.m., carrying a leather briefcase and wearing a sympathetic smile that didn't reach her eyes. She was exactly as I remembered from Mom's Book Club meetings. Silver-haired, professionally dressed, with reading glasses on a pearl chain. Maria, dear, she said warmly, your mother has told me so much about your struggles. Detective Rodriguez started to object, but she held up a manicured hand. I'm afraid this evaluation must be conducted privately. Standard protocol. I'm staying, he said firmly. Then I'll have to note in my report that the patient required police supervision, which suggests violent tendencies. Her smile never wavered. Your choice, detective. He looked at me, jaw clenched. I nodded slightly. We both knew she'd already made up her mind about her report. Having him removed would just give her more ammunition. After he left, Dr. Whitfield settled into the visitor's chair and opened her briefcase. Inside, I glimpsed what looked like completed forms. The evaluation results, already written. Now then, she began. again, pulling out a tablet. Let's talk about your relationship with motherhood. For the next hour, every question was a trap. When I explained I'd chosen career over children, she typed notes about defensive rejection of femininity. When I mentioned helping women escape reproductive coercion, she murmured about projection of internal conflicts. When I tried to tell her about the forced injection, she asked if I often felt persecuted by maternal figures. Your mother mentioned you've been playing with dolls recently, she said, studying me over her glasses. What? No, I haven't. She found them in your apartment. Baby dolls, hidden in your closet. She showed me a photo on her tablet. 3 dolls I'd never seen before, tucked behind my winter coats. It's quite common for women experiencing fertility grief to regress to childhood coping mechanisms. I stared at the photo, my mind racing. The dolls were positioned carefully, as if someone had staged them. One was holding a tiny bottle. Another had a miniature diaper bag. The third was wrapped in a blanket that looked handmade. Those aren't mine, I said. Denial is also common, doctor. Whitfield replied, typing rapidly. Maria, there's no shame in wanting children, but when that desire becomes so overwhelming that you lash out at family members trying to help, she injected me with fertility hormones against my will. She tried to give you a vitamin supplement according to witnesses. You became violent and had to be restrained. She tilted her head sympathetically. The mind can play tricks when we're under stress. Sometimes we misinterpret loving gestures as attacks. My phone buzzed. A notification from my bank. A large withdrawal from my savings account. When I tried to check it, Dr. Whitfield reached over and gently took the phone. Let's focus on our conversation, she said, placing it in her briefcase. Tell me about your jealousy toward Daniela. I'm not jealous of my sister. 7 successful pregnancies, a loving family, the admiration of your community. She leaned forward. Meanwhile, you've dedicated your life to preventing other women from experiencing motherhood. Don't you see the connection? Every protest I made was twisted into evidence of my instability. By the time she finished, she painted a picture of a woman so consumed by fertility grief that she constructed an elaborate persecution fantasy rather than admit her own desires.
Now comment update to tag you on part 3.